This is not your normal hunting show. We don't care about trophies. You're not going to see anything get shot. We're in it to reconnect with nature, eat fantastic food, and celebrate the abundance with an ever wider community.
I'm Fisher Neal. For more than a decade, I've been teaching beginners how to forage, fish, and hunt their own wild food. Now I'm taking chefs on their first hunts so they can connect with their work in a whole new way. This is the Hunter's Harvest.
Most people have no idea that they are surrounded by things they can eat. Or maybe they know there's stuff out there, but they're either too busy or too afraid to make a mistake to start learning about them. If they only tried, they would find delicious things that pop up in their backyards, their local woods, or even along the sidewalk. Our chef for this episode is someone who not only learned that foraging is possible, he loved it so much, it lured him into a new career.
Who better to take on his first hunt than someone who already knows the joy of harvesting nature's bounty?
My name's Adam Press. I grew up in Rockaway, New Jersey, kind of middle of northern New Jersey. Kind of around the advent of Food Network when it really started kicking off with Amarola and Bobby Flay and a lot of the big original names from that era. I was like, oh, you know what, I think I could probably do that. And so got a job at a local pub, you know, slinging burgers and whatever else. Wound up going to culinary school, Johnson & Wales up in Providence. Was there for a few years and kind of worked my way through a number of different restaurants and catering halls, a few country clubs, and then ultimately several restaurants in Manhattan. But the burnout rate is kind of high. The hours are extensive, 80 to 100 hours a week sometimes. So, you know, for a few years I'd kind of looked for some kind of segue to kind of, you know, I loved food. It was kind of all I really knew. And kind of as my own therapy of sorts. I used to go out hiking a lot. You know, you deal with people and loud noises and racket all day long. The only thing I wanted to do on my day off was just enjoy some peace and quiet, go out to the woods, get a little lost, find a waterfall and hang out for a bit. And then one day I kind of just, you know, I guess it had been a good storm, looked around and you start seeing mushrooms and flowers and berries and things all over the place and like, wait a minute, there's free food out here. Does anybody know about this? Eventually met Dan and again, just kind of really developed the love for foraging, wild foods. COVID hit and rocked the world, and particularly the restaurant business. Dan's business model was affected and my career was severely affected. I was at a restaurant in Summit and was laid off with, you know, a majority of the workforce in this country. As farmers markets were on their upswing around that time, he needed some extra help and might not be quite as lucrative as some of the chef work that I had over the years, but I mean, the hours are certainly better. And being able to go hiking and was like, yeah, that was my day of work. I did 5 miles in the woods and we picked up 20 pounds of chanterelles or maitake and, you know, who could get mad at a day like that? So I've had friends for years that were in the hunting world, but it had been kind of like, yeah, maybe someday we'll go and do something, and it just kind of never really fell into place. But it was something, you know, coming from the chef background and wanting to kind of close the gap in the loop of where your food comes from versus where it ends up on your plate. It just made some sense to me to at least experience it once.
Adam will be hunting in the early season when only archery equipment is allowed. Now, hunting with a traditional bow requires a lot of practice, so Adam is going to hunt with his own crossbow, which is much easier to master. As hunters, we have a responsibility to make sure that we cause as little suffering as possible anytime we take a shot. So Adam and I head to the range to make sure he's ready.
All right, and remember, still breath,
Slow squeeze, let the shot come as a surprise, and follow through.
I always had, I guess, some trepidations about making sure that we could do it right, ethically, cleanly, quick shot, quick kill kind of thing, which I guess was my biggest concern. Don't want to mess it up and hurt something that's going to run off and suffer for who knows how long. But I feel comfortable with, your tutelage, and hopefully we'll bag a deer today.
I'm taking Adam to a very special place. It's a vast swamp complex that can never be developed, even though it's surrounded by super dense New Jersey civilization, because it floods anytime there's a major rain. Adam and I slip along the edge of a lake to a place where the lake and encroaching civilization form a narrow band of woods that brings the deer into close range, perfect for archery hunting. We climb into a tree stand and wait for the action to begin.
Just to the left of it, there's like a bare spot in the dirt. Yeah.
Is that where they're bedding down?
No, that's a buck making a scent marking station to get girls.
Oh, okay.
We love a fresh scrape.
If it wasn't for the fact that you can hear the highway and all the planes going overhead, you might feel like you were completely immersed in wilderness here. All of a sudden, there's a deer right behind Adam. The leaves in the early season make it very difficult to see deer coming, and this one got right next to us before we realized she was there. She just needs to take a few more steps forward to be in the perfect position for Adam to have a shot. Unfortunately for Adam, she turns and starts to move into thick brush behind us. To make matters worse, the wind is pushing that direction, and all she needs is a tiny whiff of our scent for the whole thing to fall apart.
Smells us. If you get a chance to shoot it through there, do it. Make the noise.
What happened?
You shot right over her back.
I should have been above the top crosshair. I was under it.
Oh. Did you think she was further away, or did you just... It was just pressure?
Yeah, I think I just wasn't ready for her to be that close.
Yeah.
So I didn't check that earlier.
Well, that's part of the learning process.
That's tough, man. I feel bad for Adam. If you've never hunted before, it can be difficult to understand just how intense that situation is, and it is so easy to screw it up.
Nothing can really prepare you for the adrenaline rush and the actual moment of pulling the trigger. It doesn't matter how many times you shoot ahead of time and line it up and do everything. When you're in that moment, there's nothing that compares, nothing that can get you ready for it.
Adam and I would have to wait until 3 weeks later in early November to try again.
It's now the peak of breeding season, which helps us a lot because the deer are getting more distracted and reckless by the day. But working against us is the fact that most of the leaves have come off of the trees. So hiding our silhouette against the sky is a major challenge when you have deer close to you.
It doesn't take long before we see our first deer. This young buck is looking for a doe and cruises right on by without ever giving us a chance. I wish he would have come closer for us, but hey, it's a good sign. Not long after that, we see something very unexpected. This is a crazy thing to see. It's not the first time I've seen a deer that was a fawn that was late, but this is by far the latest I have ever seen a spotted fawn. It's November 4th. There's a case to be made, as cruel as it sounds, that the humane thing to do here would be to shoot this deer, because it's very unlikely that it's going to survive the winter, and it may not even survive the week. It's probably going to starve or be eaten by a coyote.
I don't think Adam wants to shoot a deer like that. I don't really want to tell him to shoot one like that. So in the end, we just decide to let the deer go by and let nature take its course. Not long after that, I turn my head and there's 2 deer looking right at me.
She saw me. Shoot her if you get a chance. Do it quick if you get it.
How did I let this happen? I must not have been paying enough attention. These deer got right next to us before I realized they were there, even though the leaves are off the trees. Now they're directly behind Adam. There's no way that he can turn without them seeing him, and the wind is pushing their direction.
They look up in the tree, and without any leaves to hide me, my silhouette stands out and they know something is not right.
Stop her and shoot her. What? If she gets in a gap, make a noise. Stop her and shoot her. I couldn't get a clear shot. No. That is unfortunate.
That is so frustrating. If Adam had happened to have been on my side of the tree, or maybe if he was a more experienced hunter, that might have worked out for us. But unfortunately, in archery hunting, everything has to line up just perfectly in order for the hunt to be successful, and that time it didn't. But thankfully, we didn't have to worry about it for very long, because not long after that, another deer approached us, this time from in front of Adam.
Not a good angle. Wait for her to turn. That's a good angle. Stop her. Not a good. Okay, there. She'll stop. She's down right there, buddy. She down? You did perfect. Fuck. Congrats, man. Good shot. How are you feeling right now? Mix of emotions for sure. Yeah.
Adam aged his deer for a week in a friend's cooler and then butchered it himself. To share his harvest, he's going to make 3 dishes to take to a party we call Squirrelfest. Squirrelfest is as amazing and unique as it sounds. It's a group of chefs, foragers, hunters, farmers who all come together to have an open fire cookout. It's really just a potluck with a bunch of people who are amazing at getting ingredients and people who are amazing at making things with those ingredients. There could not be a better place for Adam to present his food. You're not going to see me at this party. That's because I'm behind the camera. And in some future edition of this show, I'll be in front of the camera enjoying the food.
I wasn't there for the first year, but I was there at one of the second or third years for Squirrelfest. It's hard not to fall in love with instantly. Just a pile of great people, amazing food, lots of locally sourced things, people who are in all facets of the food world. And it kind of grew from a few chefs and food people just wanted to hang out around a fire. Someone had some game, someone had this, that, and the other thing, and obviously at some point somebody had some squirrel. It has kind of evolved into a, what they say, they call it a spontaneous live fire cookout. So the first dish was probably the most wild informed. Late summer, I was able to harvest a bunch of nice clean grape leaves. Once we had the meat, we ground up some of the venison, procured some local farro, used a bunch of different wild spices and seasonings. We had picked some fox boletes, so I dried some of those up and used them as a powder, kind of for a seasoning for the filling. Some spice bush berries that I had dried. I had some lemon verbena from the garden and a few other herbs. Made a nice semi-traditional stuffed grape leaf filling with the farro in place of rice, some garlic and onion, things like that. So let it set overnight, and then we rolled up the grape leaves on site, steamed them with a little bit of sweet potato, local sweet potato as a base, just to kind of elevate so it doesn't stick. Baked those in the earth oven and served them with an herb yogurt sauce with some more lemon verbena and some mint from my garden. I was pretty happy with the way that came out. Second dish, since it was a young deer, I kind of treated it almost like a veal, and I took the 2 shoulders and braised them with just real light, just white wine, some fresh vegetables, leeks and carrots, garlic, some thyme, and some other herbs. Simple seared, roasted, and then slow braised for a few hours in the wine. Pulled all the meat apart, strained the sauce and kind of pureed it so it's a little thicker and creamier. Tossed that with some local pasta, some spinach rigatoni for a nice color, locally sourced greens, some baby kale, and tatsoi, I think. Give it a little more freshness and body, kind of lighten it up. A few steps, but a relatively simple pasta dish that came together pretty nicely. Hearty, but really light flavors. Not a lot for the venison to hide behind, so it's really, kind of prominent. Came together pretty nice. I was pretty happy with that. And then the third and final dish of the evening, I took a roast from the top round, I believe, seared it over the fire, and then took it off and kind of roasted some fresh juniper from a local tree that we had picked, technically cedar, but has the nice berries and the great, deep, piney, fruity kind of flavor there. I let that smolder to kind of smoke and infuse the meat, brought it up to a nice, it was definitely on the rare to medium rare side, which I thought worked out very well. It's a pretty lean cut. I don't want to overcook it, but it was enough to kind of pick up some of the smoke flavors. And then I'd roasted some Brussels sprouts in the oven as well, get a nice little char on them, and made a vinaigrette with some pickled vegetables that I had made previously, some pickled maitake mushrooms, ramps from the spring, and some eggplant. I used that with some nice olive oil to make a vinaigrette for the Brussels sprouts. Just made a bed with that, sliced it nice and thin, and served it real simple, rustic, by firelight. Overall, pretty good feedback. Everyone seemed pretty happy with the flavors and everything coming together. lots of tastes, lots of people were into it. Everyone was super interested in the story behind the whole thing. There was definitely a few people who wanted to kind of hear the full breakdown, the full process, the actual day of, how it went, and if it was difficult, and how I felt about the whole process. So kind of laying that all out and building the story around the food while we're, you know, kind of partaking in the meal was a pretty singular experience for sure, and kind of helped prolong the whole experience of the hunt and the build up and kind of the aftermath. And I was very happy with the way that kind of turned out in the moment. I was very satisfied with the shot and the kill. Definitely something I'm interested in going out to do again. I've already been talking about, you know, the next hunt, next year, next whatever season. I mean, I don't love waking up at 2:30 in the morning, but it's certainly one of the better reasons I've ever had to be up.
Most of us live in a society that is totally disconnected from its food, and it allows us to live with the illusion that we're not really a part of nature. But when we hunt, we directly engage as a participant in the circle of life. And that gives the food so much more meaning than getting it from the grocery store. Thank you for watching. This project means a whole lot to me, so please like the video, follow the channel, and share it with your friends so that I can keep bringing you amazing chefs and amazing food.